Good morning to you, and thank you for finding time to be with us today. It is the 24th of March 2021. Just a couple of minutes past 9 a.m. here in Nairobi, East African time. Beautiful morning indeed. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuned in today. The show is Good Morning Africa, where we get to bring you the latest headlines and news making headlines from across Kenya and across the continent of Africa. So I'll start us off by looking at the major newspapers here, and then we shall get to look at a few from the continent. And we start with the Star newspaper. The main headline: ODM Jubilee to get 1 billion Kenya shillings parties cash. That is the main headline. And then the Standard newspaper, on the main headline: Karua move changes DP options for Raila. Now that Kenya leader has joined Azimio, its presidential candidate has more options when picking his running mate, but her move also complicates the political match for Raila's rival and William Ruto. The story is on page 6. I watched my husband die in bandit attack. That is on page 25. Africa's water security surprises. That is on page 32. Football giants fight for World Cup slots. That is on page 54 and 55. Life sentence for Cuban doctor's driver. That is on page 5. Why defecting MPs will not lose seats. The story is on page 8. The Daily Nation: Karua joins the fray after months of wooing. She joins Raila. A series of negotiations with One Kenya Alliance, Kenya Kwanza and Azimio have finally led the Kenya leader to the Odinga camp. But it is not clear what difference she makes on the ground and whether the move upsets running mate plans for both candidates, even though she is considered an asset in Mount Kenya and beyond. The story is on page 4 and 5 on the Daily Nation. An election like no other for teachers and civil servants. For the first time in many election cycles, teachers and public workers are likely to troop to polling booths on August 9th and leave empty-handed. The story is on page 12 and 13. And what else? Alam, as over 800,000 vaccine doses go to waste. That is on page 10. And I was watching yesterday, the Ministry of Health is saying there has been, a vaccine apathy. Kenyans are feeling now that we even don't have to wear masks. There's no need for them to go get vaccinated. Please go get vaccinated for your own good, because coronavirus is still there. And so to see a huge amount of vaccine go to waste like this is not a good thing. So you're still encouraged to go get vaccinated because Corona is still here with us. So that is what we have on the front pages of the leading newspapers. I don't have the regional newspapers with me here yet, but once we're able to get them in the course of the show, I will bring you the headlines. So this morning, I'm joined by Gladwell Kirago from Nairobi, journalist and our correspondent here. Gladwell, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to Miriam. Good morning to Daniel. Good morning to our viewers.
Very well, nice to have you. And we do have Daniel Wasonga, also our in-house analyst and also our correspondent. Daniel, a very good morning to you.
Yes, a very good morning to you, Miriam. Good morning to my sister, Gladwell Kirago, and our viewers here in Nairobi, Kenya, East Africa, and the rest of the globe who are tuning in this particular morning. It is my pleasure to be on the panel this morning, Miriam.
All right, nice to have both of you. So obviously the main story is that move by Karua yesterday, Kenya leader. So let's just go and find out really what happened. The story is on page 4 of the Daily Nation. And Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga has secured the backing of Kenya leader Martha Karua, complicating the search for his running mate. At the same time, his rival Deputy President William Ruto diffused a clash that has jolted his campaigns in Western. And before we go further, I think with that story, Gladwell Kirago, what do you think Martha Karua is bringing in to Azimio la Umoja? What's her value there?
Okay, thank you, Miriam. And in Mother Karua, what I see, she's an iron lady. And one thing I was for sure, she wouldn't join the UDA team. And with Mother Karua, she's so straight with her team because she's not the likes who fall for any team. And her joining the Azimio, I thought it was a good idea. And yes, now the most complicated issue is who will be the running mates for the Azimio. Is it Gideon Moi? Is it Martha Karua? So it is a dilemma still. We're still waiting to see.
Okay, before we get to the running mate part, which we shall in a very short bit, Daniel Wasonga, what is she bringing to the table?
I believe Miriam Martha Karua was part and parcel of the second struggle of this particular country. She has risen through the ranks to become Justice Minister in the Mwai Kibaki government, and also having vied for presidency. Then she's at this at a level where she's perceived to be as a states lady, you know. And of course, when she comes on the table, she brings the personality of someone who has been on the high table of this particular country, and more so championing for the rights of women, championing for multi-party democracy, and therefore that is the kind of wealth that she brings on the table. She's not just any other ordinary woman who is coming on the table maybe to fill up the gap, maybe in terms of the gender card, but she has a lot of accolades behind her back, which actually could be able to boost the image of this particular coalition. She might not come on board with the prerequisite votes, but the kind of image that she brings on and the kind of qualities that she brings on board could actually be able to attract votes for the coalition that she has just joined.
But if she's not able to bring with her some votes, you know, politics is about numbers, especially when it comes to elections. So.
What I mean is that she might not be able to bring votes from her backyard, that is Mount Kenya or Kirinyaga County, but nationally, you know, once she aligns with the right people, it actually gives them the right menu that the Kenyan people will be able to actually fall in love with and be able to go by. So I believe that is, you know, once, just the same thing like when Musalia Mudavadi ran on in 2013, he could not even garner more than 500,000 votes. But the moment he aligned with Raila Odinga, then together they were able to garner more votes from Western Kenya. So the same thing with Martha Karua. Once she aligns with Raila Odinga or not going it alone, then she will give even more people to come on board and vote for her. Because perhaps if she ran alone, people will think maybe perhaps there are no chances of her winning. But whatever ingredient that she brings on the menu, then that is what will maybe get more voters to come and vote for the coalition. Okay. Regardless of the fact that she might not come with maybe a basket of votes from the central part of the country. But the qualities that she brings and puts on the table are what that will make more people to vote for the Azimio la Umoja. So to me, I think she adds value on the Azimio la Umoja through her own history and what she has been able to do in this country. Okay. So that is what the Azimio la Umoja needs. You realize even President Uhuru Kenyatta, during his formation of government in 2013, he brought in key figures from northeastern part of the country. Not that northeastern part of the country has more votes, maybe even than western part of the country, but because the value or maybe the national outlook, and also you will want to bring people on board who actually paint a good picture of the coalition. You don't want to get someone who has been implicated into corruption who will make you lose more votes, or maybe someone who is abusive and filthy in the way they talk, like Moses Kuria. People will run away. So I think that is the value that Martha Karua is bringing to the coalition, and especially for the voters to actually associate with Azimio la Umoja. I submit.
And maybe the perception that her presence there will create. But you know, when you look at her history, it's debatable depending on from whatever spectrum you're looking at it. But we will see, even as this coalition continues to grow. And before maybe I move on to the deputy presidency and perhaps how that might upset some ambitions there in Azimio, has this dented chances for Deputy President William Ruto by any chance, Daniel?
I believe so, because, you know, there was some kind of hype in the camp of the Deputy President that Martha Karua would actually go and run on Kenya Kwanza ticket. And it was their greatest hope, perhaps, that if Martha Karua goes to Kenya Kwanza, then she will be maybe seconded as the running mate for Dr. William Ruto. And you know that the reason why they will think so, because you know Martha Karua is not a corrupt person, and putting Martha Karua to run with Deputy President William Ruto could maybe perhaps dilute the notion around the Deputy President that he is corrupt and all that, because now for the corruption that has always been associated with Deputy President William Ruto, Martha Karua, with her integrity, will be able to water it down a little bit. Okay. And therefore, it could give the Deputy President at least some kind of boost, to move forward. Just the same kind of boost he received when Musalia Mudavadi was talking about the economy and maybe integrity matters, actually went to work with William Ruto. But nonetheless, you realize that it fizzled out immediately. Kenyan realized that there was no much agenda, and actually he went to work with someone who has been implicated of corruption, someone he's been attacking on a daily basis. So it cancels out. So in as much as Martha Karua would have so much been wished by to work with Kenya Kwanza, and the stalwarts of Kenya Kwanza coalition would have wished actually also to have Martha Karua on their side, I believe she wouldn't have made so much impact. And of course, also, regardless of the fact that it would have been more convenient for Martha Karua, perhaps for them to have Martha Karua than even Rigathi Gachagua and Ndindi Nyoro, you realize that the compatibility of Martha Karua and William Ruto will not have worked. Martha Karua is a tough goer. William Ruto is sly and also a tough goer. So they wouldn't have worked together. They might have needed the pair might have needed someone who is magnanimous and diplomatic to work with. I believe with Raila Odinga it could work because Raila Odinga is a seasoned politician. His age has really advanced and he's very, very diplomatic in the tackles issues.
All right.
So that is what Kenya Kwanza lost.
Oh, okay, very well. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, insiders in Mr. Odinga's campaign floated her possible candidature for the DP post, citing the need to quote the Vote Reach Women blog, her entry adding to the list of competitors for the position, including the Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, former presidential candidate Peter Kenneth, and Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya. I don't know if her being, if Raila takes her as his deputy, I don't know if that will help in attracting the women vote. I think that is very debatable. Maybe, I don't know, the Mount Kenya vote too, perhaps even for those who felt they might not vote because their interests are not represented. Maybe that might help. I don't know about the women's vote. What do you think of that, Gladwell? Will her presence, should she be picked as the deputy for Raila, help in, courting the women vote?
I think, Miriam, if Raila decides that Martha Karua to be the deputy president, it will be a win for us women. And as we have seen earlier before, women, we are looked upon, that is down, we are so much looked down upon, and we can see leadership in women. We are still trying to reach where we are supposed to be. And I think that is the fear we can see on the other side.
But does Martha Karua has some level of influence when it comes to the women voters in this country? That was my question.
Yes, she does. And as we can see, the reason as to why you can see there's a tussle between the two, that is Wangirishi and Anne Waiguru and Martha Karua. If Martha Karua decides that she'll be the running mate, I'm sure women will be somewhere off.
All right, and that I think will be a first because we've not heard that before. And should they win, I think she will be the first deputy president who is a woman in this country. But Daniel, the women electorate, do you think she will help in attracting them to come and vote? Because women vote anyway.
Absolutely, Miriam. And you can see the kind of impact even other women who are with Raila Odinga, like Mama Charity Ngilu, actually play. These are women who defied all odds during the Nyayo era. These are women who decided to move against the grain and even fight for presidency. And they are actually tough-talking women who are very, very concerned about the position of the women leaders hold at the negotiation table. And that is why you've seen even in Azimio rally, not more than once or twice, Honorable Charity Kaliki Ngilu, Her Excellency, and even the former women rep for Nairobi, Rachel Shebesh, reminding the ODM leader that in Azimio, they are there specifically to fight for the space for women leaders and women of this particular country in particular. So you see that these are people who are in a particular election. And if you are able to mobilize women across the divide quite well and be able to sell your agenda to them quite well, exhaustively, be very, very sure that you're going to be having a lead in that particular election. Because one, women operate in their groups, and I don't think the big number who are not in any kind of progressive group, a self-help group, or maybe an organization that actually aims at uplifting their economic and social lives. So you really find that it is quite easier
but
for
Daniel,
yes.
that is totally a different matter. But when it comes to voting, and we've seen a lot of women even offer themselves for these positions during elections, and women, we do have, I think, the majority of the numbers, but still, that never translates. The fact that we can come together, network, and do other things and be in chambers, when it comes to how we vote, usually it's just different.
I was coming to that. You realize that when they come together through these groups, it is the same socioeconomic groups that actually women are able to vote their fellow women leaders, and they are able also to champion and elect leaders who actually maybe advocate for their.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I see we've been joined by Javan Karanja from Nanyuki. Javan, a very good morning to you, and thank you for joining us.
A very good morning to you, Miriam, and good morning to my fellow panelists and to our viewers wherever they are watching us from.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And the conversation we're having this morning is Martha Karua deciding to back Raila Odinga for the presidency, and as she joined Azimio la Umoja coalition yesterday. So we were looking at, according to this story, they're suggesting that perhaps her presence in Azimio la Umoja will help attract the women electorate. I don't know, how much influence do you think Martha Karua, as a woman leader in this country, has over, the women electorate? Will it translate?
Yeah, thank you, Miriam. Every leader in this country, whichever political affiliation they support, especially these leaders who have been in the politics for years, like Martha Karua, they have a following. They have people who follow them. And Miriam, if you can remember, a lot of people were wishing that Martha Karua would join the deputy president, and maybe she would automatically become her running mate. Therefore, he is a national leader. He is a leader that is known to all the old generation and the new generation. Therefore, I think there are some impacts when he joins the Azimio coalition. And this shows, apart from the number of votes, the perception that a woman who is known to stand for integrity, a woman who is principled, a woman who believes and walks the talk that she believes in, I think shows that Azimio coalition is attracting a particular breed of leaders who have stood for this country, leaders who fought for the second liberation, and leaders who championed for a cause of bettering this country and bettering the democratic space of this nation. Therefore, when we see those leaders coming in one side, then we see a kind of revolutionary leaders who can bring change in this country. I think the perception side of it is more impactful, maybe, than the number of votes that she might bring on board. Because also in women leadership, it cuts across. But when Martha Karua and Charity Ngilu and other on Azimio, they create a kind of seriousness. It looks like these are Azimio coalition. They have leaders who can champion a cause to better this country, who can champion a cause for maendeleo ya wanawake. Because when you look at Martha Karua, she has been in front line, championing for women leadership, championing for more resources, championing for more women in elective position. Therefore, there are a lot that comes with Martha Karua joining Azimio coalition. But on votes, that will be determined when we start hitting the ground. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, another complication that perhaps the presence of Martha Karua has brought into the Azimio coalition is the issue, and perhaps what will become the headache of picking a deputy, president for Raila Odinga. As we know, the name of Kalonzo Musyoka had been flaunted, and after he joined Azimio, perhaps a lot of people settled to think that maybe that will be Raila's running mate, and also names of Peter Kenneth had been floated, and also we do know the Agriculture Minister, Peter Munya, also his name has been coming on and on. So with Martha Karua joining, how will this change the matrix as far as Raila Odinga picking his deputy president, Gladwell?
Come again, Miriam.
How will this change Raila Odinga's options as far as picking his deputy president?
Okay, Miriam. I think it will be so confusing. And what I think I might see it might create a sort of enmity. Reason being, I can see like somebody like Peter Kenneth, he's been all through with Raila, and everywhere he goes, we can see they're together. On the other hand, we can also see Gideon Moi, and we can also see Kalonzo. But now recently, Mother joined, and for me, if I was asked, I would go with Mother being a deputy president. Reason being, I think we need to have a 50-50 where women also lead and have a top position in our country, Kenya. Something we've never had, but I wish we could copy like the lifestyle of Tanzania, whereby Suluhu is the president. So I think it can be a win for us women, and most of our women could be empowered.
All right. And Suluhu became president by chance after the president died. But yes, I do understand, and we long for a day where we'll see a woman at the top leadership in this country. But I think the conversation is just beyond just having a woman there. For right now, Wesonga, with the coming in of Martha Karua, how will this upset the ambitions of others who perhaps also are looking to have this deputy president slot, or what kind of headache has this brought to the Azimio coalition? Wasonga.
Miriam, sorry, my network was breaking up. Just come up with the question again.
I'm saying, Karua joining the coalition now, how will this bring in some challenges as far as picking a deputy president for Raila for the Azimio coalition will be?
Personally, perhaps I'll go for Kalonzo Musyoka. You know, Ukambani region is bringing on board a solid 2-point-something million votes, you know. And when you look at the Mount Kenya region is already a swing vote county. So even if Raila was to go and get a deputy running mate from there, then it wouldn't do much, because William Ruto might take maybe 50-something%, Raila Odinga might take 40-something%, or William Ruto could take 60% or the higher end, Raila Odinga could take 30-something%. So, but if he takes Kalonzo Musyoka as a running mate, together we know already he has the three Ukambani governors, which will consolidate the vote region. And you know, the eastern region, the Ukambani region, also goes with the east, Mount Kenya East region, the Amerus, the Ambere, the Aembus, and the Taraka, the Tarakas. So I believe if he takes Kalonzo Musyoka, actually it will be okay. It will be an okay thing. And remember, Mount Kenya region actually just needs a share of government. So they can forego the deputy president, but also take a critical maybe slots in government. And that is what David Murathe, the Jubilee Party vice chair, said the other day. So to me, I think he won't maybe bring a change in matrix for Raila Odinga, but my hope is Raila Odinga selects Kalonzo Musyoka. And of course, we know under Azimio government, the BBI is going to come. And with the BBI coming, we could have a prime minister coming from Mount Kenya region, or maybe a deputy prime minister, or maybe another deputy. So it is not, to me, I think in Azimio, there isn't quite much greed, or maybe much tension on who is going to become the deputy or not. This particular problem, we have left it to the other side of the political divide, Miriam. I submit.
Very well, thank you. Jevan Karanja.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Miriam. And I think Martha Karua joining the Azimio coalition, in one way or the other, he brings kind of relief in search for a running mate. Because if the men on the table, Peter Kenneth, Kalonzo Musyoka, and maybe Peter Munya and others who have been fronted as preferable running mates by across the board. Then Mother Karua comes like the neutral person, the person who can be picked without much strain, because he will come with the women vote, he will attract the women vote, and maybe with her experience and expertise in government, she'll spice up maybe the campaigns for Azimio, and Kenyans might have a different perception, a different outlook in 2022 politics. Having a woman running mate, maybe in Azimio side, that will be advantage. We'll be in advantaged position, maybe even to outshine our opponents and win with a landslide, because women will, across the board, maybe they reach to a point where they will not care about the regions or the tribe, but they look to and see their fellow woman at a very influential position. But all said and done, Miriam, I think Mother Karua has joined too late, and I think there was some order in the Azimio how they would pick their candidate. But if it will be impossible, maybe to settle between the guys who have been there before, then Mother Karua is the best solution.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And I'd like us to move now to another matter, which I think is very important, and we've given it prominence here, and we've been talking about it, the IEBC and its preparation for the elections. And I see an update as far as that is concerned on page 6 on the Daily Nation. So let's just take a look at that. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has signed contracts with 2 firms to print and supply ballot papers and maintain the management system for the August 9th polls. This despite 2 pending court cases in which unsuccessful bidders challenged the award of the tenders. IEBC Chief Executive Marjan Hussein Marjan said in an interview they had gone ahead to sign the contracts because the court did not bar them. Despite the suit challenging the award of the 2 tenders, the court did not stop the process. It has never issued an injunction, said Mr. Marjan, adding they are prepared for the general election. The tenders are critical components of the general election, and if delayed can affect the integrity of the electoral process. The 3 billion Kenya shillings tender for printing and supplying ballot was awarded to Greek company Inform P. Lycos. The 3-year open tender further requires the firm to supply statutory election result declaration forms that will be used at constituency, county and national tallying center. The 4 billion Kenya shillings Kenya Integrated Election Management System, KIEMS, a tender involves the supply, delivery, installation, testing, commissioning, support and maintenance of the kits. It was awarded to Dutch firm Smartmatic and also involves maintenance of software, hardware and accessories for running the polls. So, IEBC has continued with this phase of preparing for the elections, paying and signed a contract for, printing of the ballot papers and all that, and also for the KIEMS management and all that, of the kits, and this is despite of the cases challenging the same in the court. Gladwell, what is your thoughts on this? Gladwell? Okay, Wasonga. Wasonga, can you hear me? All right, we apologize. We seem to be having a bit of a technical hitch. Jevan Karanja, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you. I didn't get the whole part of the question, but I left you.
The IEBC is signing contracts for KIEMS and ballot printing, despite having 2 cases in court challenging the same. It signed yesterday, yes.
And I have said this, and IBC should be, and our members of parliament and everyone who is concerned, they should ensure that IBC gives credible results as we head to 2022 general election, because failure to that, we are staring at a very risky situation, and maybe the dark memories of 2007 and 2017, where this country was faced by all forms of havoc and reckless behaviors from supporters of various candidates. They might come to play if IBC is not well prepared. But I think the law should be followed to the letter. And if they asked not to engage in any procurement process by now, they should adhere to that, because if the law is not followed properly, Miriam, they might get these systems and these machines maybe from firms that will have a hand, or who have a partisan into or who are affiliated to some political coalition in this country. And we know these are same concerns that were raised by NASA in 2017, where they accused the government of procuring the machines or those electronic devices used in elections from certain firms that they said maybe in one way or the other they might interfere with the results at the end of the day. Therefore, we need, if the procurement to be done, let it be done following the right procedures. The tendering process should be followed to the letter, and there should be open and transparency, because a lot have been said. Deputy President and the team have already raised concerns of fears that the election will be rigged. Therefore, the lot that said, therefore, any mistake IBC makes, they should understand that might act as a trigger, that might act as a catalyst, that can be used to amplify bad behaviors with our politicians when they lose in general election. Therefore, it's upon the IBC to ensure that they attract the public, they have the public trust when they are engaging in this 2022 general election, to avoid the kind of maybe lack of trust, maybe people perceiving it as a corrupt entity also, and so on. Thank you.
Okay. Now, unsuccessful bidders went to court on the grounds that the award of the tenders was illegal. At the Court of First Instance, the Public Procurement Review Board separately nullified the award after it established that the IBC bungled the process. However, the decision was overturned after the Commission appealed in the High Court. Risk Africa Innovatis Limited is challenging the award of the KIEMS tender, arguing data migration was not budgeted for at the time it was floated. It also claims the procurement was not done by a fully constituted commission. And I keep taking us, because this is part of the conversation we had yesterday. One of the things and the grounds which, BBI was dismissed is because the High Court said it was not properly constituted. So this person who went to court, said even in the process of IBC acquiring and tendering, the tendering process, IBC was not properly constituted. Now, if that was used to dismiss the BBI process at the High Court, and should the court use the same grounds to dismiss this, because this case is still in court, what will this mean as far as IBC continuing with the preparation of this election is concerned, Daniel?
Miriam, I believe that is a self-sabotaging maybe action by IBC. And yesterday we had a very extensive discussion about this. I don't know if it is by sheer ignorance or maybe a preempted maybe decision by Wafula Chebukati that they might they should be committing these legal blunders in IBC so that it decelerates their preparedness towards the election or not. So I think, Miriam, this is something very serious. And if the court of law has to go maybe the legal way, then IBC will actually hit a setback after setback. And to me, at this particular point, Kenyans should have known better that Wafula Chebukati is not the right man to be at the helm of the IEBC. And this is because he guarantees no free, fair, credible, and verifiable election at this particular juncture in time, Miriam. And if IEBC was to be audited, then we would realize that there's a lot of things which have done in a legal way, and where the rule of law have been subverted or maybe has been skipped in that there's been an illegal tendering, there's been illegal procurement, there's been illegalities, even in the way IEBC conducts its business, even in by-elections and all the other elections that it has conducted so far. So Miriam, and for that particular matter, remember, even there's another court case regarding IEBC on its composition and the illegality in the elections that it held while it was not rightfully constituted in terms of the commissioners who were sitting on the panel of IEBC. Mm-hmm. So I think, Miriam, this is a very, very huge risk we are running by entrusting IEBC to go ahead and conduct the August polls. Mm-hmm. We might just conclude the polls only to be told that the IEBC was actually an illegal entity, and therefore declaring the entire election null and void. So I don't think IEBC and our Wafula Chebukati is the right body to conduct our election. Even if the court does not declare the election null and void, just by the virtue that it has been indulging in illegalities, just by the virtue that our Wafula Chebukati has not been so serious in curbing electoral malpractice, that only renders an election to be null and void. And remember, we've always reiterated that an election is not a one-day event, it is rather a process. So if any part of this process is skewed, then it means the entire electoral process will actually be dented. And that is what Wafula Chebukati is doing by having all these illegalities haunt the helm of IEBC, Miriam. So I don't think it's a very good thing for IEBC. It might have legal implication as well as the credibility implications on the side of IEBC. I submit.
Very well, thank you. And according to a report by the Auditor General, 12.2 billion Kenya shillings worth of contracts procured by the IEBC for the 2017 polls were not supported by performance security bond. Direct procurement of products worth 9.23 billion Kenya shillings between January 2016 and October 2017 only benefited favored suppliers, and those claims again are coming back. But here, Mr. Majan said the Commission had learned from its past experiences. I don't know how you look at that. Gladwell, before I bring in Dr. Matanga, I see he has joined us. But IEBC has already set aside 3 billion and yesterday, of course, it signed, the contract for printing and supplying ballot papers. Let's have in mind that IEBC has not even cleaned up, its register, so it's really not sure the number of voters it is working with. And so this 3 billion, what is IEBC basing it on if they're not even sure the approximation and the number of voters that they need to print the ballot boxes for?
Yes, Miriam, and that's a good question. The 3 billion, what is it for? And as my brother has said, IEBC with Wafula Chebukati is not the right person to be holding that position. And following this election, there might be no transparency. Earlier, before in past elections, we've been having IEBC leading the elections, but we've always been having complaints. And with this current election, IEBC is not fully well prepared. And as Doc has always been saying, that a bad election is equivalent to war. So, and with Wafula Chebukati, if you can remember the cartoon we once discussed about, that cartoon with the umbrella leaking, it basically explains everything with the IEBC. So I think we should push the election. And this election will cause disaster since the register has been broken. And what the most shocking thing and the most irritating is that Chebukati has also allowed campaigns to tear our country apart. So I think IEBC should take a break and prepare for a better election.
All right. And of course, at the moment, the Commission is consolidating the voter register to incorporate the 2.5 million new voters enrolled during the recent enhanced registration. Thereafter, the register will be handed over to a consultant to clean up and verifying its credibility. We are in the final stages of recruiting the consultant who will carry out this. So they have not even recruited the consultant, and we know it's already far beyond the timeline that is required, by the law. So that is another issue there. Dr. Matanga, a very good morning to you, if you can hear me.
Good morning, Miriam. I will come in later, but I just want to make my presence known that I'm with you, I'm watching, I'm listening. But since you have now brought me in, let me open up myself to to a subject that I've been talking, Miriam, all the time. It is sad, very, very sad, and very sad that we are talking about mishaps. Only 4 months left, and the whole topic. Every morning there is a mishap. Every morning there is a mishap. Every morning there is a mishap. It is very, very sad for anybody in this world to hear that a country is still asking for 3 billion shillings, still asking for money to conduct an election. It is very sad for anyone like myself who would have wished a peaceful election in Kenya to find myself at the center of discussion or discussing what might happen, what might not happen. It's sad when you have wasted money to do a commission of inquiry on how you should conduct your elections, surely. And later on, you turn around and break even the rules of the commission of inquiry of Krieger report, which they gave you. It is sad for any politician who is aspiring to become a presidential candidate here to watch, to sit and say, we are going, let's move on. We shall sort, we are Kenyans, and we are going to be very peaceful after elections, when it is a lie. Let's be honest, it's a lie. Very big lie at the moment. It is sad. Therefore, for anyone to come out on any national TV to say we are prepared for a chairman of the Electoral Commission to tell the world that, oh, we are very happy, we can go, we are ready. The election is very well manned, we are prepared. 10,000 polling stations out of 49 or 47,000, 11,000 have no network. So, it is also sad to print boxes when you don't know the number of people. Isn't it? You don't know the number of voters. But Miriam, you have gone to ask for money to print boxes. Isn't it very sad that it is only in Africa that we hear of these things? That it's only in Africa that we intend to destroy what we have even created properly. That it is only in Africa that humanity thinks from the legs instead of the head. It is sad, again, finally, to say and to see all the people very happy that this is a democratic state, we have democracy, and the Kenyans, they always quarrel and, they come together, but why do you then complain too much? Allow it to flow. Isn't it? I heard Karanja saying, hey, this is a very sad situation. And Karanja, that's why I have picked that word sad. Sadness. It's sad. It's a very sad situation. When lies are even told in presence of the high, the mighty. Very sad. We are heading in a dangerous route. Our routes are dangerous. The routes are full of crocodiles. This election has not. There is only one thing that I can qualify if I was an observer or a monitor of the Kenyan elections. There's one thing that I can qualify this election to be. And Miriam, that thing is, the word starts with the letter G, and you know that word. This election has been gerrymandered. That's all I can say this morning about Korea, about Karua. You have said enough. I just want to say the best tool of humanity is negotiation, Daniel. Negotiation, mediation is pressure. Some of us put pressure, very strong pressure. You know, these writings on the wall is pressure. You want to go this way, we say no, but we know you. Come this side, the other side doesn't like you. So finally, Baba himself, they came together. They have never been seeing eye to eye, but they agree on the principle of liberation of this country. The other side of Ruto is full of people who have never achieved one single thing on the theft. The most outstanding activity on Ruto's side is theft of public funds. Kuiba pesa ya umma. That's all. That's the most outstanding, you know, when we are coming to say, to lay the obituary of UDA, we say thank you very much for saving us, for going into opposition, never to steal our money again. That's it. That's what we are going to say. And what you Kenyans should say, that God has saved you to open up your eyes and follow some of us who are talking on social media. We are influencers. I have millions of voters, even if I don't vote. There are people who listen to me on television station, on CAS TV, on Mutembei TV, millions. Go there and see. There are people who listen to me on TV 47, on Pangela in Africa. I have voters. I have voters who will follow and say that guy from Uganda said wonders against this. So if you think that's why the Chinese Communist Party is an influencer in the Jubilee Party. So if you think that I have no vote, therefore I should not talk about Kenyan politics, you remember I am influencing Kenyan politics. There is no law that stops anybody to talk about the Kenyan politics in Kenya. If there is that law, then we shall abide by it. Sindio, we shall abide by it. But I influence these elections. Out of these votes that are going to be cast, I will have at least some votes. Some people would have gone to cast because they saw this Ugandan whom you insult every day, on when people insult every day, talking about these things and defending the right, talking about, someone will say, no, Matsanga told us about Chebukati, and we did not listen. Matsanga told us about Dr. Muge and the Greek company that came to do what Chebukati has already pocketed. His own cancellation is now going to court to buy the court. The EBC lawyers are busy talking to the judges so that they throw out the case. We know there is intelligence, enough intelligence that we can bring out that can make this election not work. But some of us are keeping quiet because I'm a Gentile preaching to the Jews. Miriam, you'll excuse me on that all the time. And I have to use that word to remind people that I'm a Gentile preaching to Jews. But on the basis of chapter of Paul's letter to the Philippians, chapter 1 and chapter 4, I have no regrets. Wesonga will stand there for me one day. Karanja will stand there for me one day. Gladwell Kiragu will stand there for me one day. Miriam, you will one day tell people that we used to say this and Matanga used to say this. It is true. There is something wrong with this. And if the political party, if Raila is not picking it, me, I have an independent mind. If President Uhuru Kenyatta has not picked it, I have an independent mind. I don't think for them. But me, I'm picking it very nicely, and I'm telling you, there is something wrong. Now they have gone to the High Court and Appeal Court. They are influencing the judges to throw out the petition of awarding the tender. You see? And that is Chebukati. If you look at the money these people pay lawyers, why should a lawyer be paid 400 million shillings? Why? What is this big case in Kenya where IEBC pays a lawyer 400 million? Surely, you tell me. You tell me, are you seeing the rot? Are you Kenyans seeing the rot? And you don't want to speak about your own country? Thank you. Thank you. I am a Gentile speaking to the Jews. I have nothing else. I have conscience. I have character. That my character allows me to speak the truth. And the cornerstone is my truth. The truth becomes my cornerstone. I have no regrets. Why should a lawyer of IEBC be paid 400 million shillings? What is the lawyer doing? Hala. Wala ya Mungu. Wala. Wesonga. Javans. Kirugu. Kiragu. Gladwell, my younger sister. What is it that you want, Miriam? Someone should not speak about it because he's a Gentile. Okay. Pharaoh to Pharaoh. Kaisai to Kaisai. Let's leave it. But I'm telling you, this, whether I'm in Kenya or wherever I will be, because I will hear the results. But I'm telling you, there's something wrong with this IEBC. If you don't correct it now, you regret. If people don't come in parliament and change, because you have already seen when you try to talk about IEBC, the Uda side of Ruto jumps to defend IEBC. Mudavadi, who was critical of IEBC, has jumped to defend IEBC because they know what they have done. They want status quo. Didn't Chebukati know that there were no 11,000 areas that had no communication? And which are those areas? Are those not the areas that Ruto's helicopter can reach? Are you going to stop helicopters from flying on that day, Miriam, and your panel? What guarantee do you have that a man has sourced a printing company of ballot papers that those 11 polling stations mostly are in northeastern of Kenya and Turkana and those areas? These are where helicopters disappear at night until an accident happens. Hello? Are you seeing something? So for me, that's the much I can say, Miriam. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to comment on this. I have my topic coming next, and I'm going to be very candid. That's why I'm very sober today. I'm going to tell you that you have been bewitched. We are really bewitched in Africa. Tumerogwa. I'm even very shocked. Tumerogwa. Why? I don't know. But you'll hear my reasons in the following editor's memo when it comes and you give me chance. But for me on that one, Miriam, thank you very much. It's a sadness, very big sadness, and a very big sadness. On another point which I saw on the paper, which I don't want to leave go, a life sentence for the Cuban doctor's driver. Miriam, you remember the other time when the Cuban doctors were arrested or were kidnapped. I don't know. My production archives people, my Fred should be keeping these clips. And you bring them back and say what Matanga said. What did I say? That's it. The news broke. What did Matanga say? I said this is not a kidnap. This is not terrorist act. It is just a homegrown terror unit that has exchanged the money, changed the money, got the money, and they are here. They are here they are here, Miriam. You have sentenced this driver, but you have left the kingpins who handled the money. What did I say that day? I told you that sometime back, Norwegian relief agents hired cars to go to Northeastern in a well-arranged manner. And who was the man who hired the cars? The man is called Hassan Hari, who became the Prime Minister of Somalia. In the car, there was his boss, the head of Norwegian Relief, a Canadian. Two drivers, two people, Kenyans, were killed. The Canadian was not killed. Hassan Hari himself was not killed. They came back. After a few days of juggling money and money changing, someone ringing Norwegian relief agency and the government of Norway to deliver a ransom. The Canadian was released together with, but the two drivers, two Kenyans died. Where is that case? Miriam. Two Kenyans died. They were killed. They left home to go and do work. But the mafia group had already planned how they were going to con money, to pick money from Al-Shabaab. And they picked the money, the Canadian. So the Canadian went back, and listen to this very interesting media. Listen to this interesting, you people on the panel. The Canadian went back to Norway and asked Norwegian Relief Agency, why did you pay $6 million? I was not kidnapped. The money was taken by our man in Nairobi. But there are two. The money was divided by Kenyans. Some 2-3 powerful Kenyans divided the money. And they took the money. The case of the two drivers who are Kenyans, whose families today, whose children today are languishing, they don't know why their father was killed by Al-Shabaab. Never received a penny. So the most complex thing that I always say, my dear sister, Miriam, have you seen that story? It's a sad story. The guys went and built houses. They are very rich here. You see them on TV. They talk like they have the whole of, they have also got some money because they have houses. They talk like they want to they're better than Uhuru Kenyatta, the family, the people who have worked and sold the milk. But they divided the money. What about the two families? So when you have got this driver, but who gained from this Cuban episode of kidnap? Some mafia here. They are here. Miriam, they have got the money. When the Cubans lastly, you tell me they went and secured their doctors. You tell me, Mr. Namwamba Junior from Funyula is here. Are those not the doctors? The Cuban doctors came here to help you. And then you tell me Namwamba is a very good man. He was advising us in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Jamani, tuache. We are bewitched. Tuache. I'm sorry. Look at that. Who benefited out of the saga which caused the Kenya tension? These Cuban doctors almost wanted to go back home after two of their guys were kidnapped. Kenya was going to lose quite a lot. But now you see, you have sentenced a driver. You haven't told us even where he comes from. You have said it was a first-time offender. Isn't it, Miriam? A good thing you have done. You have sentenced him to life. But he will be taken out by his appointment who gave him the job. You watch us serve 2, 3, 4 years. Atatoka. Do you guarantee that he cannot get out? With the type of corruption that we see here, that you cannot pay for, you can come with 2 million shillings. Actually, you don't need 2 million. You need only $50,000. And that is Somali guy will go away and go home. Who has gained? We should have gone deeper to the root cause on how these doctors arrived in the scene. Who was planning all this? They are here. Some of them are very critical of the government. They even insult the government day and night on television. There you are. I rest my case.
All right. And that is where we end our show this morning. Another story that is trending on the coast of Expressway, and Kenyans have so much to talk about as it's trending. I was hoping we could look at it this morning, but because of time, that is a conversation we shall have perhaps, a subsequent show, maybe tomorrow. So thank you so much. This has been Good Morning Africa. Thank you, Daniel Wesonga, Gladwell Kirago, and of course, Dr. David Matanga. Don't go too far. Our next show is coming up. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Good morning.